Very successful NFL player died recently because he didn't take care of his dental work. I was absolutely actually shocked by this.
A report by the Hillsborough County Medical Examiner says Williams had sepsis brought on by severe dental problems.
There was recently a lawsuit to a dental office. They're getting sued because a woman had 4 root canals, 8 crowns, and 20 fillings in one visit. Should I be worried as a patient when I'm going into these kinds of practices? And am I actually getting the work that should be done?
There's too many dentists that are busy treating the tooth and not the patient. Too many dentists treating the tooth because the tooth is how you get paid. It's not because of the patient.
Welcome back to another episode of Dental Rift. I'm your co-host, Gary Bird. I'm a 49ers fan, and they made it to the Super Bowl. That's why I'm wearing this hat.
Hopefully this episode gets released soon. I'm Tanner Applegate, the CEO and founder of Unify. We are the only dental password manager specific thing. We solve problems for your dental office that other password managers can't.
I like that touchy name that you called it a thing. That I think is going to stick. That was good. I don't know if you caught that or not, but this is custom intro today, guys. All right. So we got some really, really cool stuff to talk about today. Actually 3 really cool topics. So the first one was there was recently a lawsuit to a dental office. They're getting sued because a woman had 4 root canals, 8 crowns, and 20 fillings in one visit. And the lawyer's arguing that they shouldn't have done all that work, and it didn't actually solve the problem because she had some genetic things going on, and they didn't really pay attention. It was just work for the sake of doing the work and getting the money. And so that's in the court and in the news right now. And then also there's a ex-NFL player. So a very successful NFL player died recently because he didn't take care of his dental work. I was absolutely actually shocked by this. And then lastly, we recently got some awards, and I think our podcast had something to do with that. So which one do you want to tackle first? Which one do you think is the best topic?
Let's start from the top and work our way down.
All right, cool. So I'm going to share this real quick. I'll share my screen. Now they're trying to charge me $1 a week to read this website, which 100% never going to do that. Wouldn't even do it if it was 1 penny a week. But I'll share it here so you'll see the little ad. So here it is right here. Woman sues dentist after getting 4 root canals, 8 crowns, and 20 fillings. 20 fillings is wild, and 8 crowns is wild too. In one visit, the Minnesota woman said that the dental work performed in one day in July 2020 caused her pain and suffering, embarrassment, and emotional distress, and messed up her face too. So basically what happened here was she got all this work done because they told her that she needed it. Come to find out there was other problems that she was having that was causing the decay. And so the office was like, no, she needed this work. This was good work. And they were like, the problem was way deeper, and you shouldn't have done all that work in one visit either. You should have spread it out and over time. So I was pretty shocked by this. And I was shocked that the lawyer actually called out like this. You didn't actually solve any of her dental problems. You just put makeup on the pig, basically.
This is a huge issue in dental. Like, I'm glad that it's being sued because that was probably an extreme case. But in dental in general, this is way too common. So my thought on this, though, is this boils down to, and remember, disclaimer, I am not a clinician. So do not quote me on this. Do not hold me liable or whatever.
Sorry to interrupt, but I got something really, really important to share with you that's going to bring massive impact to your practice. So every year, things change in your market. Every single year, people move, incomes change, populations change, and it's really important that you stay up to date with that. And one of the things that we want to offer to all of our listeners completely for free is mapping out your new patients. So we're not going to only show you where your new patients are coming from on a map, just like this above, but we're also going to show you the income areas that they're coming from, the different pockets of income, as well as the populations to make sure that you have supporting areas to where you can attract more new patients. And lastly, we're going to map out all of your competition for you for free. This is 100% for free, no obligation. And we're really excited to share this with all of our listeners. So all you have to do is go to maps.smcnational.com, and it's first come, first serve. We're not going to offer this forever. So if you want to get this, get in now, get all your new patients mapped out for the new year. We're looking forward to talking to you soon. Thanks. Tanner and I just play dentist on a podcast.
Just pretend to be a dental podcast owner.
Yeah.
But what they said, one of my best dental friends, he said there's too many dentists that are busy treating the tooth and not the patient. Right? This is a super common, I mean, this is a case of treating the tooth, right? They did so much work without stepping back and saying, okay, let's treat the patient. What is going on? Like, why does this patient have so many health issues? Like, yeah, I can go in and fix them, but if it's just going to turn around and break because you're not going to be compliant, et cetera, like you're also still going to be liable for it. And so this to me is a example of too many dentists treating the tooth because the tooth is how you get paid. It's not because of the patient. Right, insurance is a major culprit of this being a issue in dental.
Okay, so I've heard two different things from dental experts, and when I say dental experts, I mean either dentists or people that work in dental offices with dental patients every single day. And I'm not going to give names,
dental
but
experts?
Yeah, we're kind of like we're other stuff experts. So here's what I've heard and I'm going to give you polar opposite information here, so it's on each end of the spectrum. So I've had dentists tell me this. They said, Gary, you should go make a video, should go into the biggest implant provider in the United States, and you should say, hey, I really want full arch because I want like perfect teeth in my mouth, and see if they're willing to rip out all your healthy teeth and put in implants, because I bet you they would be willing to do that, because I've had patients who've gone to those kind of practices before for like full arch, and they were just like, hey, we're going to rip everything out and put full arch in because that's what we do. And I was just shocked that a dentist told me that. I don't know if it's true. Maybe it's not true. But I was shocked that a clinician was willing to tell me that, and it kind of dared me to go do a video about it, right? Like go in and like secret shop them and do that. So that's one end of it. Then I work with somebody else who also works in the full arch space, and they said, a lot of the GP practices out there are Captain Save a Tooth, where they will do all this work to save the tooth when in reality, there's no hope in saving the tooth. Like, and this is a good example of that. Whereas you're trained to save the tooth, but you got all these underlying problems where you're just, again, putting makeup on the pig, and a dental implant or a full arch is actually what this person needs, or some other medical advice. Something else is going on medically, and they're just not catching it. They're just, to your point, they're doing what provides production. So where does the truth fall? Like, should we be worried? Should I be worried as a patient when I'm going into these kinds of practices? And am I actually getting the work that should be done? And these are the questions that people ask online. When I make dental behind the scene videos, these are the questions that patients are asking, and there's serious trust issues because of these kinds of problems. Not saying that all dentists are this way. Obviously they're not, but they are out there, and it causes a lot of mistrust.
And honestly, I don't know if I have the answer or the solution for it, because it's one of those things that the more that I know, the more that I realize how much I don't know. Right. And this is another example of like, I've got kids. I've got a child who has genetically bad teeth that I took him to a dentist that I did not know beforehand, a pediatric dentist, and they diagnosed all this stuff. And I knew that there was an opportunity that this could be 100% needed, but there's also an opportunity where this could be 100% bogus. I have the luxury of having friends in the dental space that I sent his diagnosis to them and said, hey, what are your thoughts on this diagnosis? And they said, yeah, great. Like this looks legit. I would do this on my own kid. Right. Whereas there was an opportunity where they could have come back and said, you know what, like this person's pushing for production, and I have that luxury of being in the space to be able to do that. But there are other people that don't have those trusted advisors to say, give me a second opinion. And so you're really just going out there and you're kind of risking. So I would say first look at reviews, and don't just look at reviews saying, hey, Karen was nice, right? Look for reviews on websites where it talks about like their clinical work and such. But other than that, like you can't know.
And we've talked about this a lot, haven't we, Tanner? Like, it really boils down. This is what I've learned from the clinicians. It boils down to their philosophy. Are they trying to just prevent bad things happening in the future, so that way they're going to solve the problem right now and put the crown in or put the filling in or do the root canal? They're just going to get it out of the way? Or are they just going to do the bare minimum maintenance and then deal with the problems as they come up when you get in pain? And those are two different strategies, and the patients don't know to ask that, like, what is your strategy and how you approach dental care? But those are two radically different outcomes at the end. And this is why people go into the dentist, one dentist says, oh, you need 20 fillings. And then you go into the next dentist and they go, you don't need any work at all. You're totally good. We'll see you later. And that's the best explanation that I've heard of that. But how does the patient work through that? Like, I have no idea how a patient would ever figure that out and understand that. Because for me, I don't want to ever be in pain. And I don't want to ever have to do an emergency trip to the dentist. So I'm hoping that they're telling me, hey, let's just solve this now. Versus someone else might say, oh, I'm okay with that. Whatever's the cheapest, and I'm okay if I'm in some pain. I got extra time and those kind of things. It's so radically different, right?
It's so hard. I mean, like my again, that best friend dentist that I was sitting there talking about, he says this, you know how dentists have their talk tracks. They say the same thing to every single patient. One of his talk tracks is, the best time to fix this is right before it happens. But unless you have a magic ball, you never know when it's going to break.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to decide, are you going to do it proactively now? Or are you going to wait until you get closer? And he said, and so ultimately that's the key. So he's one of those that's like, let's wait. And then is there starts being symptoms of it being an issue, then we'll fix it. And my wife as a patient is like, I don't like that theory. No, right. So she's, even though she's really close, personally trust this guy with her life, she almost doesn't go to him as a dentist because she doesn't believe in his own personal opinion of like, let's wait and see. She's like, I want it taken care of if it ever could be an issue, because you're right. I don't want to have to risk that pain.
Yikes. Okay. So I'm going to share this with you. This one actually blows my mind much more than this last story that we just shared. So I want you to watch this. It's a minute and 37 seconds.
Mike Williams, fast and agile. His family says he was also a loving father. In August, Williams was on a construction job and was hit in the head, suffering a serious brain injury. Still, his death caught the family by surprise.
He was just fine. Something had to happen for him to go into cardiac arrest.
A report by the Hillsborough County Medical Examiner says Williams had sepsis brought on by severe dental problems.
The source of that infection, according to that statement, would be from the oral environment, where you've got bacteria that has been uncontrolled and caused tooth decay and also abscesses on the roots.
Dr. Walter Howard is a clinical professor at the University of Florida School of Dentistry and not involved in Williams' case. He says problems like this are extremely rare and entirely preventable.
Unfortunately, dental disease is largely 100% preventable, but when things get out of control, then it certainly can affect the rest of the body.
In Williams' case, Dr. Howard says it's likely that a number of factors contributed to Williams' death.
This is a multifaceted case, obviously, where you've got pulmonary issues, you've got cranial trauma. It sounds like they had some kind of a spinal surgery as well. So there's so many things wrong with this. It's like trying to, unscramble.
So the reason I'm blown away by this is like, obviously he had the head thing, but the doctor's willing to come out and say, no, it wasn't, that's not what killed him. It was his mouth. And it's complicated, but, and listen, we hear about this all the time, right? Like, no, it's like the mouth, the rest of the body, it can affect your heart, it can affect your overall health. But you very rarely hear about like someone died because they had, something going on in their mouth. And then adding on top of it, somebody who, was in the NFL, who's famous. It just really hits home. This is crazy. Like, to me, just to see it connect of what I've been hearing over and over and over again. This is the first time I've ever seen it connected in this way.
Yeah, no, it is a good thing to call out for sure. I think about, like, one of the first things that came to my mind was, what is the culture of preventative dentistry, right? In the US, we were lucky. And I guess, again, this is one of those things where insurance was a benefit, but the dental insurance companies 20 years ago, 30 years ago, did a huge push towards preventative marketing of dentistry, right? Go in and get your teeth taken care of preventatively. Whereas if you go into Europe and such, they're still very much in a reactive culture of dentistry, right? You don't go in unless you have pain. And that's the problem, is that a lot of the people, like I had a root canal once, I had root canal issue. I stayed up all night once in deathly pain. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. But in the morning, the pain was gone and it subsided. And so I was tempted to just not go in and get it looked at because the pain went away. Right. And so if you're in a culture of reactive due to pain, dental tooth pain comes and goes, but what the underlying issue is still there, right? It's just being left untreated. And so I think in this regard, like he could have had pain and he could have felt it and just didn't go in and get it addressed because eventually it subsided. So that's why I think it really needs to reemphasize the need for preventative dentistry. Like go in even when you don't have pain and get things checked out because there could be underlying issues.
If I was a dentist and people were coming through my office and they weren't taking care of their mouth, I used to be one of those patients. I was just scared of the dentist and I would go and I would just like try to avoid them as much as possible. I would bring, like, if someone brought that up to me when I was younger, I would have had a totally different mindset. I would have been like, okay, I just need to get over this and get this work done. I mean, this is a huge opportunity to train people and teach people about what's actually going to happen. Because I feel like I hear it a lot now because I'm in the dental industry, but before I was in the dental industry, I never heard anything about better take care of your mouth. The only thing I remember is like, take care of your teeth. You don't get round number 2 of them. You know what I mean? You don't get, this is it. Your baby teeth are gone. Here's your adult teeth. That's the main message that I heard. But what does that mean, taking care of them? Like, I had no idea. And on top of that, I was really scared of the dentist, which I've been able to overcome that through different dentists that have been really good and like helping me understand and stuff. So that fear has been removed from me, but huge opportunity for the dental industry here, and an unfortunate loss, like someone so needlessly losing their life over something that we have the ability to fix relatively easy.
Gary, you are CEO and founder of a marketing company that just won some awards. Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. So Denobi Awards. Have you heard of the Denobi Award?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so
until this year.
Yeah, DNOBI. Now, I think it was called something else the years before. I've seen them before, but I didn't fully understand it. And I made the list. So they create like a short list and for 2024. And I made the list. And then I'm going to like an award ceremony in Texas to go through it. But to be frank with you, I don't know a lot about it. I know some of the people who are running it, and I'm excited about that. But no one reached out to me and said, hey, like, we're thinking about nominating you, or you're going to make the list this way. But I made the list. So super stoked about that. Like, we're super honored. Obviously, it's amazing that I made the list. It's amazing. A lot of that has to do with my team and a lot of like the social media content, our podcast that we do, just like different people in my life that obviously influence that majorly. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up here because I don't know a lot about it. I can show you like the little short list of who made the list of it. And
no,
again,
there's definitely some good names. And I think this is awesome. I think that in the general in dentistry, like there are so many people like yourself out there doing amazing things for this industry, moving it forward, that recognition like this is important. So I do think you were definitely noted in it. Don't know a ton about Denobi, so we'll definitely be looking into that. But it is congrats, man. It is well deserved.
Well, dude, look at all the look at all the names, and then like what blew me away is this, like DDS, DMD, DDS. Okay, here's a founder and CEO, CEO. You know, but there's a lot of like titles at the end, right? Like DMD, like a lot of dentists. There's a lot of dentists on this list, and so it's cool to make a list like this and not be a dentist. Like that's a big deal to me. So, anyways, that's something. And then these are the offices that they recognize one amazing office, and I don't know how they pick those or how they do that, but these are the best offices in the United States that are, one of them is going to win the award.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
You don't have any thoughts about it? Like, do you know anything about it?
I know a handful of people on that list that have been mentioning it on LinkedIn, but again, when I saw it, I was like, I don't know anything about the Denobi Award.
Cool. Well, I'll find out more. I'm actually going to get them on a podcast, some of the folks here, and talk through what exactly what does it mean? How can we talk more about it? And it's a huge honor. I want to learn more about it, and I think other people probably are the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. Awesome. Next year, Tanner's going to be on the list next year, so that's our goal. Awesome, man. Great show today.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Peace.